Okay, before we go into the video, I want to do a quick um, recording of kind of an introduction to Vortex mathematics by Marco Rodin, because this is the best math and graphical analysis and way that I found can represent, to me, the most authentic, direct perfection of sources mathematics or divine mathematics in creating toroids, how the toroids work, and how certain alignments are within the toroid in comparison to other parts of it, and how the mathematical ratios work. So, and just in general, the vortex mathematics that he teaches is a much better way to look at math than just looking at math as a means of just symbols that represent things in our lives, or quantities of items in our lives, and that's it. He introduces the topic by saying that numbers are actually real things. They're part of the creation process. They're part of creation. They're real, and they actually have qualities to them, as opposed to just being symbols for quantities. And that's important also, if you can kind of grasp that. I don't know if I'm going to go too much into that right now, but there's something to that, and looking at things differently as I try to get an understanding of the divine mathematics. And when I say divine mathematics, I mean, I really do believe that those who created the pyramids, who created these structures, you notice they are literally to perfection, on a level that we cannot recreate, no matter how good our technology is. And that has to do with how they think, how they create things, what they know, but also just a whole level of processes that are obviously aligned, or more aligned, with perfection and with source.
An introduction to the rod and coil and vortex-based mathematics. With the introduction of vortex-based mathematics, you will be able to see how energy is expressing itself mathematically. This math has no anomalies and shows the dimensional shape and function of the universe as being a toroid or donut-shaped black hole. This is the template for the universe, and it is all within our base 10 decimal system. Numbers are real and alive, not merely symbols for other things. You will discover that the relationships between numbers are not random or man-made, but that numbers are actually elementary particles of which everything is composed. This lost knowledge was known to our ancients and is now being uncovered for us today. Gradually you will come to see that numbers, in a simple yet profoundly perfect, three-dimensional matrix grid pattern that forms the shape of a torus. As you begin to glide through this explanation of Marco Rodin's fantastic discoveries, please understand that you must set aside many commonly held belief systems of the way the world works in order to fully comprehend the completely new truths that are embodied in this discovery. This math truly explains everything that ever was, is, and ever will be in the universe, perfectly with no emissions. As Russell Blake, senior researcher from Microsoft, has said of Marco's work, this fantastic coherence has existed since the beginning of time, but yet to be harnessed by mankind, and the potential is truly mind-boggling. Mathematics as we know it today is only a tool to symbolize quantities. It simply and shamelessly helps the greedy king count his coins. Vortex-based mathematics is completely different because it is a dynamic math that shows the relationships and thus the qualities of the numbers rather than the quantities. Within vortex-based mathematics, numbers are not symbols that stand for something else. Numbers are real and alive. But what exactly does that mean, you ask? Well, Marco Rodin's final conclusion was that all intelligence comes from a person's name. This led him to understand that not only our personal names and the language they are spoken in highly affect our personalities, but that the most important names are the names of God. This led Marco into a journey of thoroughly studying all the world's great religions. When he was introduced to the Baha'i faith, he immediately became a believer. Literally days later, Marco decided to take the most great name of Baha'u'llah, prophet of the Baha'i faith, which is the Abba, and convert into numbers. He did this in an effort to discover the true, precise, mystical intonation of the most great name of God, since the Baha'i sacred scripture was originally written in Persian and Arabic. Marco used the Abjad, numerical notation system, for this letter-to-number translation. What Marco discovered was that A equals 1, B equals 2, H equals 5, A equals 1, add all the numbers together, and you get 9. The fact that the most great name of God equaled 9 seemed very important to him, as everything he had read in both the Baha'i scriptures and other religion texts spoke of 9 being the omnipotent number. So next he drew out a circle with a 9 at the top and 1 through 8 going around in a clockwise circle. Then he discovered a very intriguing number system within this circle. Marco then knew he had stumbled upon something very profound. This circle with its hidden number sequence was a symbol of enlightenment. This is the mathematical fingerprint of God. Follow along as the amazing properties of this symbol unveil themselves to you. Put your pencil on the number 1. Now move your pencil in a straight line to number 2. Then in another straight line to number 4. Then across the center to 8. Notice that you are doubling. So next should be 16, and it is. But 1 plus 6 is 7. So move your pencil to 7. Then 16 doubled is 32. 3 plus 2 is 5. So move your pencil to 5. Then 32 doubled is 64. And 6 plus 4 equals 10. And 1 plus 0 equals 1. And then you're back to 1. So move the pencil across to the center and back up to 1. Notice the infinity symbol has formed underneath your pencil, creating an ever-repeating pattern of 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. This number sequence stays intact, as you have numbers as well. The powers of 10. As you replace the decimal numbers with their power, for example, 0.5 equals 10, 0.25 equals 100, 0.125 equals 1000, you will see that the powers line up horizontally. The number is on the left, horizontal addition result is on the right. Notice how the 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 number pattern repeats indefinitely. At this point, some of you might be thinking, what in the world do these number patterns have to do with the real-world applications? These number groupings piece together into a jigsaw-like puzzle pattern that perfectly demonstrates the way energy flows. Our base 10 decimal system is not man-made, rather is created by this flow of energy. Amazingly, after 20 years of working with this symbol and collaborating with engineers and scientists, Marco discovered that the 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 was a doubling circuit for a very efficient electrical coil, but yet there was still one more very important number pattern to be realized. On the mathematical fingerprint of God, notice how the 3, 9, and 6 is in red and does not connect at the base. This is because it is a vector. The 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 is a third dimension, while the oscillation between the 3 and 6 demonstrates the fourth dimension, which is the higher dimensional magnetic field of an electrical coil. The 3, 9, and 6 always occur together, with 9 as the control. In fact, the yin and yang is not a duality, but rather a trinity. This is because the 3 and the 6 represent each side of the yin and the yang, and the 9 is the S-curve between them. Everything is based on thirds. We think that the universe is based on dualities, because we see the effects and not the cause. When I say the oscillation between a 3 and a 6, what I mean is that 3 doubled is 6, and 6 doubled is 12, but 1 plus 2 equals 3, and then 12 doubled is 24, but 2 plus 4 equals 6, and 24 doubled is 48, so 4 plus 8 equals 12, and 1 plus 2 equals 3. So the 3 and the 6 go back and forth in their own separate dimension. This creates the other important pattern of 396, 69, 339. Now lay out the number patterns on the 2D grid. Now place the 39669, 339 number pattern in the center of the 124875 number pattern going forward, and the 124875 number pattern going backwards. So that would be 578421. This continuation creates an amazingly perfect number map. The mathematical fingerprint of God is a legend or blueprint for the torus and can be visualized in a 2D form as seen on the screen. This 2D number map forms the 3D skin of the torus and thus demonstrates the concept of the winding of the coil. And the 9 demonstrates the omnidimension, which is the higher dimensional flux emanating, called spirit, that always occurs within the center of the magnetic field lines. The last number left to be explained from the mathematical fingerprint of God is the number 9. The number 9 is energy being manifested in a single moment event of occurrence in our physical world of creation. It is unique because it is the focal center by being the only number identifying with the vertical upright axis. It is the singularity, or the primal point of unity. The number 9 never changes and is linear. For example, all multiples of 9 equal 9. 9 times 1 equals 9. 9 times 2 equals 18. But 1 plus 8 equals 9. 9 times 3 equals 27. But 2 plus 7 equals 9. This is because it is emanating in a straight line from the center of mass, out of the nucleus of every atom, and from out of the singularity of a black hole. It is complete, revealing perfection, and has no parity, because it always equals itself. The number 9 is the missing particle in the universe, known as dark matter. The number 9 lines up with the center of the infinity symbol, and it is from the center that the linear emanations we call spirit emanate from the center of mass outwards. Spirit is the only thing in the universe that moves in a straight line. Spirit is the inertia, ether, that Einstein postulated. Spirit is what makes everything else warp and curve around it. The perfect number patterns are actually created by this spirit energy. Without spirit, the universe would become destitute and void. Spirit flow is the source of all movements, as well as the source of the non-decaying spin of the electron. Numbers have temporal, spatial, and volumetric qualities. For example, physics is the base 10 number system. In other words, numbers have bilateral or mirror symmetry and line up in stratified layers of horizontal planes. This is the same as physics parity. There are 9 simple multiplication series, one series for each discrete number, 1 through 9, in Vortex-based mathematics. These multiplication series are based upon reducing all products to single digits via horizontal addition, forming meaningful number sequences. There are 3 polar pairs, 1 and 8, 2 and 7, 4 and 5. For example, multiples of 4 are 1 times 4 equals 4, 2 times 4 equals 8, 3 times 4 equals 12, but 1 plus 2 equals 3. 4 times 4 equals 16, but 1 plus 6 equals 7. 5 times 4 equals 20, but 2 plus 0 equals 2. 6 times 4 equals 24, but 2 plus 4 equals 6. 7 times 4 equals 28, but 2 plus 8 equals 10. And 1 plus 0 equals 1. 8 times 4 equals 32, but 3 plus 2 equals 5. 9 times 4 equals 36, but 3 plus 6 equals 9. So multiples of 4 equal 4, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5. And multiples of 5, the polar opposite of 4, are 5, 1, 6, 2, 7, 3, 8, 4. Each pair forms number sequences that are identical, but in opposing directions. So if you take the multiples of 5 and look at them running backwards, they are the same as the multiples of 4 running forward. In exactly the same way, the multiplication series for the polar pair 1 and 8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, for the number 1 and the number 8 respectively. The multiplication series for the polar pair 2 and 7 is 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, and 7, 5, 3, 1, 8, 6, 4, 2. Everything is starting from the center outwards, from the singularity. Nature is expressing herself with numbers. The symmetry of our decimal system is a principle of nature. The 9-axis causes the doubling circuit, and it is the point towards which matter converges, and away from which it diverges, or expands. Thus the polar pairs will be mirror images of each other, both flowing in opposite directions, from the central axis. There is perfect symmetry wrapped around a single point coiling outwards, the same way that petals are wrapped around a rose, or a nautilus shell spirals outwards.
All the math of toroidal flow is based on this key principle, that is the relationship and sequence of and between the numbers 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, and 3, 6, 9. The relationship between these numbers is as follows. All formation of matter, as a clearer example, is that of cell division, obeys duplication patterns. 1 times 2 equals 2, 2 times 2 equals 4, 4 times 2 equals 8. The numbers 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 represent the physical side and 3, 6, 9 the etheric side, since they obey another interconnected sequence that is 1 plus 2 equals 3, 2 plus 4 equals 6, 4 plus 8 equals 12, and 1 plus 2 equals 3, 8 plus 7 equals 15, and 1 plus 5 equals 6, 7 plus 5 equals 12, and 1 plus 2 equals 3, 5 plus 1 equals 6. As you can see, the results will always be alternated between 3 and 6. And it is for this reason. 3 times 2 equals 6, 6 times 2 equals 12, and 1 plus 2 equals 3. 12 times 2 equals 24, and 2 plus 4 equals 6. 24 times 2 equals 48, and 4 plus 8 equals 12. And 1 plus 2 equals 3. 48 times 2 equals 96, and 9 plus 6 equals 15, and 1 plus 5 equals 6, and thus to infinity, always alternating the result between 3 and 6. The alternating effect also translates into an inversion of the electromagnetic polarity within the dynamics of the toroidal energetic flow. In the case of number 9, it is the result of the sum between 3 and 6, or 6 and 3. And this obeys its own sequence that is simultaneously isolated and omnipresent. 9 times 2 equals 18, and 1 plus 8 equals 9. 18 times 2 equals 36, and 3 plus 6 equals 9. 36 times 2 equals 72, and 7 plus 2 equals 9. 72 times 2 equals 144, and 1 plus 4 equals 9, and so to infinity, always with the same result as the number 9. 9 times 1 equals 9, 9 times 2 equals 18, and 1 plus 8 equals 9. 9 times 3 equals 27, and 2 plus 7 equals 9. 9 times 4 equals 36, and 3 plus 6 equals 9. 9 times 5 equals 45, and 4 plus 5 equals 9. Always the same result, 9. The relationship between 3, 6, and 9 form a trinity, where 3 and 6 are opposite and 9 is the combination of both as a whole. Note that I did not say it was a balance, because it is not. It is the sum of both as a whole. The 9 also symbolizes the illumination, that is, the ability to transcend duality. The total relation between the numbers 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 will always add 9. Also, as in 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 7 plus 5 equals 27, and 2 plus 7 equals 9. As the most important basic example. In this image, we can see how the energetic flow inside the toroid causes a depolarization on the etheric side between the poles 3 and 6. Every time the energy flow is turned from one side to the other. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, changing polarity with this. One polarity is dominated by 1, 2, 4, and the other by 8, 7, 5. At the point in the center, or 0, there is a release of energy or energy depolarization, hence the name 0 point energy. The center in yellow is the 0 point. All the creation of matter is based on this mathematical principle of sacred geometry. From a subatomic particle to a whole galaxy, they are formed with this principle. The cell division also obeys the same mathematical pattern of 1 times 2 equals 2, 2 times 2 equals 4, 4 times 2 equals 8. All the creation of matter is based on this mathematical principle of sacred geometry. From a subatomic particle to a whole galaxy, they are formed with this principle. The cell division also obeys the same mathematical pattern of 1 times 2 equals 2, 2 times 2 equals 4, 4 times 2 equals 8. In the image, the energy release point is the center or 0 point caused by the depolarization between the field 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 and the field 3 and 6, being that everything reinforces the upper point, or 9, which is the node of the static wave that has been created by the energy dynamics below, and joins other toroids or energetic engines to create complex structures following the harmonic frequency or sacred geometry product of the attention point of a consciousness. The toroids are added, forming other more complex structures. The cycles with which the energy circulates in the pattern of 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 are its frequency, and it is measured in hertz. The average amount in hertz of revolutions within the toroidal systems that make up the matter to any level, and in the cosmological, it is also known as Schumann resonance when it comes to a particular planet, and it is specific to each celestial body or position in the universe. The speed or frequency of the cycles in hertz of matter is itself what defines a density or existential plane. The higher the energy frequency in hertz, the higher the existential density, and as I described above, it is directly and inseparably linked to the consciousness that generates it. Although it would be thought that this would occur only collectively, especially in a planetary point of view, this is not so, since it occurs both collectively and in the sum or average of all present consciences, as individually, because each being with consciousness, using its own point of attention or focus, filters, creates, and blocks all frequencies that are not within its range of attention, this thus creating a private and proper parallel universe reality. All the information and the principles of 0 point energy or free energy are already on Earth since the time of Nikola Tesla, and the only thing that prevents its free use by all the human population is the presence of very negative beings who wish to continue exploiting it. In order for the population to have free energy, it is necessary to remove the negative beings, the corporate cabal and Illuminati, from the planetary control that have simply monopolized the technology and have eliminated the independent scientists along with all their work as soon as they arise on their own. This is not new to you, and what I describe above is only in big terms how the 0-point energy works. In summary, an energetic structure with correct geometry mathematics will cause an energetic depolarization from the etheric side, releasing a large amount of free energy. There is an electric charge on one side perceived as physical, and another on the etheric side. When polarities and their charges have opposite poles within specific geometry, discharge occurs. Otherwise, none will be produced, as there is no point of depolarization. When this technology is perfected, an ultra-efficient reactor can be built that provides abundant energy that never runs out. It can transmit the specific frequency of depolarization of the etheric side, or 369, without cables to enormous distances, and a device equipped with the receiver in the exact frequency agreed by design, and this will cause an internal depolarization in the device, thus creating free energy transmitted without cables in a totally clean way that can be used for its functions in an unlimited way. And since the transmission of high energy is from the non-material side, it does not constitute any danger to life. The reason why I like this breakdown is because we live in a multi-dimensional system. And we have to, at some point, when we get there, and when we can understand the structure of it, understand that energy and many things are multi-dimensional. And here, in this example, the 3-6 field versus the 1-2-4-8-7-5 field, that 1-2-4-8-7-5 field is in the third dimension, or the physical world, whereas the 3 and 6 fields that connect with 9, the 3-9-6, that's coming from more like the fourth dimension, or the fourth dimensional field of that magnetic polarity. This fingerprint of God is a great way to display polarity, since we live in a polarized dynamic for the most part until we move into higher dimensions. So being able to understand that if we're going to pull energy from the unified source field or directly from the ether, well, the ether is visible at the fourth dimension. It's going to exist in a bit of a higher dimension, or in a higher electromagnetic scale of visual light, or our visual scale and our ability to see certain things, which is limited. Well, that field, that etheric field, tends to exist outside of our visual range. So to be able to pull from the ether, we have to go to the ether and pull it, which is essentially what that 3-9-6 field demonstrates, because that field exists in the higher dimension above us. Hence the 0 points here, and it discharges it when a 0 point, or when a depolarization of those fields takes place.